Wait, I'm already out of the shorts dimension? Wow, that didn't take nearly as long as I expected.
Guys, we gotta get rid of 343!
What?
343 Industries, dude! We gotta get rid of them!
Oh no, I'm not doing this again. I just went through this whole Halo Infinite debacle just a few months ago. I'm not going back yet.
But they just released a new roadmap and it sucks!
What the hell is that? Okay, fine. You wanna get rid of 343? Let's discuss. July 7th, 2007. That was the day Bungie announced they were parting ways with Microsoft and the Xbox brand. After 2 more titles published under Xbox, Bungie would be leaving Halo for good. November 6, 2012, 5 years after Bungie's separation from the Halo brand, was the release of the at the time newly founded 343 Industries' first contribution to the Halo series, Halo 4. The game was a mixed bag that garnered pretty mixed reviews from fans and critics alike, immediately drawing comparisons to the work cultures of 343 and Bungie and whether this new studio was truly fit to carry such a huge franchise on their own. I don't think I have to tell you the rest of 343's history with Halo. I already made a nearly 40-minute video going over all of this. So let's just skip to just last week when 343 announced their roadmap for the next year of Halo Infinite's multiplayer. That is conceptually supposed to be a live service. Since Infinite's release, the output of new content has been painfully slow, and fans have only been growing more and more restless with each passing day. People have been waiting for this roadmap for so long to see exactly what 343's plans for this game actually were going forward. So, what are their plans?
You get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
Well, not exactly, but close enough, honestly. 343 confirmed that Halo Infinite Season 3 was being delayed to March 2023, therefore making Season 2 a grand total of 8 months long. So don't rush off to buy the Battle Pass too soon because you still have more than enough time to grind it out to your heart's content. After 8 months of agonizing silence, we will be getting 2 maps, a new piece of equipment, a DMR that's missing a scope, thus completely missing the point of the DMR, and we will finally be getting Forge and Customs browsers over a year after release. They also announced that they would be canceling the development of local campaign co-op, which, while not a huge deal for the wider player base, was one of the first things they promised would be in the game, and was a big deal for many people who want that sort of couch co-op experience that made Halo such a popular social experience to begin with. Fans have been understandably livid after the reveal that the content drought is not going to end anytime soon. But this time, it seems fans have had enough. 343 has been working on this franchise for exactly a decade at this point, and they have only managed to put out failure after failure after failure in all that time. And Halo Infinite to many people is the final straw. The game released with so many missing features that it become staples to the series, and the features that were there still felt either half-baked or simply displayed a clear misunderstanding of the appeal in the first place. It's gotten to the point that the hashtag Fire343 has been making circles on social media, and a wide margin of the community is convinced that it's time for 343 to be dissolved and for a new company to step up to the plate and try their hand at the Halo franchise instead. There's just something all too familiar about this level of outrage as someone who has a lot of experience in another consistently slighted fan base. That's right, this was a Sonic the Hedgehog video all along. If you're new to my channel, I've kind of made it a running theme on here to compare these two IPs all the time, because there's way more overlap than I feel many people realize. Both IPs feature company mascots that started with a trilogy of universally loved games that bolstered the game's protagonists to the most recognizable faces of gaming in their respective generations. After an awkward phase of polarizing spin-offs, the original people that worked on the original trilogy left the company, leading to the publishers to form a new studio designed specifically for making new installments to the series. These games from the new studio are good in their own right and still have their fans, but consistently fail to match the star power of that original trilogy. After nearly a decade of working on the series, they end up being forced into a position where, to meet the launch of the next console generation, they have to rush out an unfinished, bug-ridden build of what could have been their most ambitious game yet, if it had just had a bigger team, better management, and more time in the oven. But instead, the game goes down in history as the moment the series hit rock bottom. And now, no matter how many years pass, and no matter how many great games they make afterwards, nobody will ever let you forget the time Sonic kissed a human, or the time you had to pay for colors in Halo. Yes, Halo fans, I regret to inform you that we are currently in the Sonic 06 phase of this franchise's life cycle. I tend to see the Sonic series as a bit of a black mirror for what Halo could potentially become if it continues on its current path. And at this point, I'm starting to get a bit worried that we're at the point of no return. But I've already gone off track enough for one video. Back to the point. Are people right to be mad at 343 for this? Well, yeah, honestly. But do I honestly believe that the rational decision is to completely get rid of the studio and start from scratch? Absolutely not. I can't help but feel like the people who are rage baiting and asking for 343 to get kicked to the curb have this fantasy that a new studio will come in like a knight in shining armor, ready to bring Halo back to its glory days once and for all. When in reality, putting a new studio in charge of Halo, even if it's a studio full of passionate fans of the series, will still be like starting right back at square one. Everyone will have to relearn a lot of the same lessons 343 also had to learn, like how the guns should feel, how the maps should be designed, how to work with the engine, and many, many more. I think people forget Bungie had a decade of experience making games before they even conceptualized Halo. And each of those games expanded on the last as they continued to learn and grow as a creative team. Even after many of the original people left the company, you can still see some lessons learned from the Halo games bleed into Destiny. These lessons aren't just about game design either. It's about communicating with your different departments, synergizing with your co-workers, and developing a work culture that ensures that you can get a product out the door that you're proud of in a timely manner. This kind of stuff takes years and years of experience to pull off. And that brings me to my next point. And it's the point that is symptomatic of a larger issue in the video game industry as a whole. No, it's not crunch, although that's a pretty big one too. Instead, I'm talking about the exploitation of contractors in the workplace. It was revealed a while back by certified only good game journalist Jason Schreier that a large number of 343's developers are simply contract workers brought on to work on the game and then leave, almost never being promoted to full-time. The reason for this is quite simple and extremely scummy. You don't have to pay temp workers as much, and you're not obligated to give them any benefits either. This means that 343 has effectively become a revolving door of talent. People learn how to work on the game, get acclimated to the work culture, and then leave. This means that the company is perpetually having to learn the exact same lessons over and over again, because the team is constantly changing in and out more than the members of Iron Butterfly. And I know nobody's gonna get that reference, but I'm keeping it in anyway. The exploitation of contract workers is a well-known dark side of modern gaming, and in my opinion, it could potentially contribute to why so many modern video games just feel bland. Nobody sticks around in these companies long enough to leave their mark or even rise up the ranks to better express their visions on these projects. With how the industry operates nowadays, there's a strong chance we'll never see another Tim Schafer, Hideo Kojima, or Masahiro Sakurai, visionary designers who stuck it out and rose through the ranks of their respective companies by showcasing their talent and raw passion for game design. Because nowadays, these creatives wouldn't get far enough to truly prove themselves before their contracts ran out. The fact of the matter is, when workers are treated as disposable, so do the games. In my opinion, the solution isn't to get rid of 343, because 343 gets rid of 343 themselves every 18 months when the contracts expire. The solution instead should be to completely restructure how the company works from the ground up. Whoever is in charge of hiring and managing contract workers, may it be Frank, Kiki, Bonnie, or someone totally different who's smart enough to stay out of the spotlight, fire them. Out of a cannon. The company needs a full restructuring, and that means evaluating the management and making changes where need be. If someone is mistreating devs or allocating resources where they could be better allocated elsewhere in the project, it's probably best if that person gets a replacement. With all that said, maybe it is still time to give 343 a break after all, just not in the way people are proposing. Once again, let's look at how Sega handles the Sonic IP. Yeah, you have Sonic Team, which works on the mainline games, but over the years we've also had games made by Sumo Digital, Dimps, Headcanon, Traveler's Tales, and each one had their own direction for the series while retaining much of the charm of the mainline games. They weren't replacements for the mainline titles, but they were fun enough installments to hold people over until the next big game. The problem is, Halo doesn't have anything like that. In the past 10 years, we got 3 mainline games and 1 spin-off not including mobile titles. We had to wait 6 years for Infinite to finally come out and end up being a dud. That just shouldn't be the case with your console's flagship brand. Look at how Nintendo treats Mario. There might not always be a big budget 3D platformer coming out, but there's still always a new Mario game around the corner regardless. May it be a 2D platformer, a 3D platformer, a sports game, an RPG, Nintendo always ensures that their flagship mascot is in the spotlight. And they do this by having multiple studios working on multiple titles at the same time. The Halo series' host is such an extensive universe that it's a real crime that we don't get to explore it in greater detail, outside of shooters and the rare RTS. Imagine a Flood survival game in the style of Resident Evil, or a tactical stealth game in the style of Splinter Cell or Metal Gear. With how many companies are now under the Xbox umbrella, there's really no reason why we couldn't have companies like Arcane or Undead Labs make these sorts of games for the Halo series. I really wanted this month to be a chill one for me. Just playing with the YouTube Shorts feature and seeing what happens while I focus more on my classes, but I've seen so many videos from prolific channels doing nothing but rage bait without giving any real logical solutions aside from firing 343, which just isn't a productive way of thinking about these sorts of things. I just wanted to give a more level-headed take while still voicing my own frustrations about 343's upper management. I hope I've educated you on how the games industry works and the ethical way to go about restructuring.
What the? I'm gonna just act like I didn't see that.
Hey there, Pyromaniacs. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, then leave a like and become a Pyromaniac yourself by subscribing. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at @lordpyromon and listen to my podcast, the YTFA Podcast, and maybe join our Discord as well. We have a lot of fun there, so don't forget to check us out. Anyway, until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.